in terms of like the edge of where my interests lie, I'm also very interested in what, as a psychedelic renaissance expands, perhaps too fast for its own good, in my view, but that we can perhaps get onto that in a bit. But as it expands, there is very little out there yet of what it looks like to combine different modalities together. And that really fascinates me. For example, the somatic experiencing world and the psychedelic world, or for example, meditation and psychedelics is one that's more established, one I've been interested in for a long time. But there's just so many different, the family constellations work and MDMA, for example. So there's a real, I think, opportunity for researchers and skilled practitioners to be exploring what is going to help people and what's going to be the most enriching and connecting practices to bring alongside psychedelics, because there's this different school of thought around like how psychedelics work, but many people would argue, I think most people would argue, that the practices and the context and the kind of process you do alongside them is more important than the actual drug itself. I would, and there's a spectrum of where people sit. Some people think the drug itself is therapeutic by itself, with like, even if you don't have as much intervention. I think there's truth to that, but certainly we don't really know that much. After, we really don't have that great an idea of what the potentials are for the rituals. I would call them rituals, the rituals and processes we use alongside them. So I'm really interested in that, and that feels like a real new frontier on the horizon.
But I found my experience was at practice. If you do the psychedelic experience without practice, you're really wasting it somehow, because you don't ground it, you don't establish it, you don't keep that opening open. And if you just do the practice without the psychedelic experience, well, you're missing a huge boost that can get you there quicker.
Definitely. Before I forget, actually, that's one of the things that I think really could be combined very well with the psychedelic experience is inquiry specifically. And I did that a year or so ago with someone sitting for me, and it happened quite spontaneously, where I felt, I think it started with a twinge and a feeling I had in my shoulder. And I thought, I'm gonna inquire into this, and I just said out loud, I think it started with, I'm noticing a kind of movement in my shoulder right now. I'm not, I'm kind of curious what it is. And then it would move somewhere else. And then it went on for about 2 hours of just speaking. And there was a real synergy of speaking to the experience, deepened the experience. And it became one of the most profound experiences I had. And that's I think a cool example, because in psychedelic therapy, that's not usually the way it's done. It's very non-interventionalist. And there is psycholytic therapy, which is more kind of a talking therapy, but I haven't yet seen people use that modality and I'm not sure it would be appropriate necessarily for everyone, but that's the kind of thing I think that is very exciting, because it could well take us to deeper places of insight.